Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Half of you are back. I've got 10 minutes to give you a quick update on my work, on my project that we're busy with, and linking it to previous work that we've done, basically looking at quality. So we've heard over the last 2 days that our farmers are amazing, and I agree 100% with the high yields that we are achieving. But what if I tell you that our next big profit jump is going to be in improving our quality, and doing that with the data that we already have, that we're already collecting in our fields and in our trials. So if we look at available information, we can see over the last decade our yields have improved significantly. However, there's still a large percentage, on average 12%, that's being downgraded. And this downgrade is the result of quality issues such as bruising, poor skin set, internal browning, etc. If we can just recoup a small percentage of this downgraded product, this can result in significant increases in profit, both for our farmers and for the industry as a whole. So what are the biggest quality issues that we are facing? So it's everything from the physiological immaturity at harvest to our shelf life, specific gravities, right down to that integration between what happens in the field and the pack houses and out to the markets. So these are just a short list summary of them, but of these factors, about 75% of the factors that affect quality post-harvest is actually linked to our agronomic practices in the field. So these there's some more that we can add here, but all of these, there's a direct correlation with what we do during the crop growth and how that relates to the quality post-harvest. So as a few examples, and these are just a few examples that I pulled out from the data sets that we've been working with. So nitrogen, nobody is refuting that we need proper fertilizer application, but we work in a system. The plant is a biological system with the soils. We've listened in the previous session as well. The soil is not just a growth medium, it's alive. So it's a system, and in system balance is important. So one of the examples in terms of fertilizer where this balance is really important is the calcium to nitrogen ratio. So we can see as your calcium-nitrogen ratio increases, your dry matter percentage can increase, internal defects actually decrease, obviously up to a point, and this will vary. That upper limit and where you get that intersection will depend on the environmental conditions and the variety that you are planting, but there's definitely correlations there. Calcium, so those of you who know me will know that I won't be able to do a talk without referring to calcium and its role in internal quality. So we know that internal browning and hollow heart is often the result of calcium not reaching the internal tissues of potato tubers, and the physiological reason for this is actually that you get non-functional xylem vessels as a result of this lack in turgor pressure and lack in calcium that is being assimilated in the tuber. What we see in the field, however, is just that we have this internal browning and hollow heart as a result of suboptimal growing conditions. And it is true. Soil temperatures, air temperatures, soil moisture conditions, it all links to internal browning and hollow heart. But again, there's this direct correlation also with our fertigation or our fertilizer application, specifically calcium and nitrogen. Calcium is also important in other quality characteristics. So the calcium that we apply now can have an effect on the next season's crop because it affects sprout development as well as the moisture loss in our tubers that we use as seed tubers. Root systems. I think this is the basics that we sometimes forget. To get proper nutrient uptake, we need to remember what does the morphology of our crop look like. Potato root system is very, very different than for instance, a maize root system. And you need to understand this, to need to know when do you apply your fertilizer, at what rate, at what time, and where do you place it. Again, these correlations we've seen in years of data that has been collected. Something linking to Prof. Martin's discussion also yesterday is water management. Yes, we want to give enough water, but we can also give too much water. And even just slightly too much water, there's these correlations again then with a lower carbohydrate metabolism in our tubers. Lower carbohydrate metabolism directly links again to our specific gravity and quality post-harvest. So high water it's got two effects, high water content. It can have a dilution effect, so you don't get enough nutrients to your tuber, so you get a slowdown in carbohydrate metabolism, but it can also have an indirect effect in such that it actually stimulates vegetative growth, and then you get this disconnect between the sink source balance, so more of your resources allocated to your plant leaves and less allocated to your tubers where you actually need it. So it's all about balance. And it's all about patterns. So in nature is full of patterns, physically in physical form, but also in processes. So the pattern that we see here is we have this agronomic driver. So for example, we have our fertilizer applications, just one of the examples. That leads to a physiological response. Whether it's your calcium pectate linked to the calcium application, your reactive oxygen species linked to a stress response, or carbohydrate metabolism, and that then results in reduced carbohydrates. But here is the interesting part. So we know all of this. Nothing of this is really new, and this is data that's been collected for many, many years. But we don't often use that data. Often that data is sitting in silos, somewhere in a spreadsheet, somewhere even in a book still. Maybe it's been used in the moment for in-time management, but we haven't done anything more with that data. So this is what we've been keeping ourselves busy with, is trying to collect these data sets and to see if we can get better patterns. So get the data in terms of the agronomic inputs, these physiological responses, the measurements, which is everything from sensor data to lab data to leaf analysis, sap analysis, all that data you can put together, and to start to build a pipeline that will enable us to get to predictive models that we can help farmers to reduce the risk, help markets also to reduce the risk, and improve market access. And at the end, this will lead to consistency, traceability, and improved quality. So just a sneak peek into what this process looks like. So we've done it for other commodities as well. For tomatoes, we've done a bit more work. So this example here is actually what we've done on tomatoes. So first of all, after collecting a lot of this data, it's a tedious process of data cleaning. So we need to get this data. Data's not always usable. It needs to be in a format that you can actually use it in this building of the pipeline. So cleaning of the data, developing proxies. So for instance, we've developed a proxy for calcium efficiency, which is basically the calcium to irrigation ratio. So it looks very simple if I have to explain it in 20 seconds, but this is a lot of work. And then after that, then we can start with this pipeline that will lead to our predictive modeling. So there's an example that we've done for the correlation between shelf life and cultivar, and you can start to get these correlations with the different factors affecting it. The more data you can input into these data sets, the more accurate they will become. So it's not something that you're going to build and it's finished and you walk away. It's going to be a continuous process, and the more data we can get and can enter proper data, the better the model will become. And at the end of the day, the aim is to be able to build a easy, usable forecasting model This is just a mock-up of such a model, what that would look like, where you can put in all your own agronomic practices. It uses in the background all this data sets from previous trials, both locally, internationally, and it will give you a kind of a profile in terms of your risk, but also can tell you what you can do to maybe go back and to optimize your quality. Is there something you can do in terms of irrigation or your fertilizer management that can actually decrease, for instance, this risk factor that has been identified? All right, that has been a really speedy session through my work, but I would love to talk to you during lunchtime or later tonight if you have any questions. But yeah, I do believe that the future of agronomy really lies in smart and quality focused use of data. Thank you.